Shut the hell up.
It's all the abuse. Welcome to I'm saying MPR. Welcome to another episode of Morelia Python Radio.
How dare you let what's in the pre-show flow over into the show?
572. We're talking Owen's favorite, Papuan Carpets.
Oh,
we're gonna teach him. we're gonna teach him how to breed them. Yet this is we are determined. You got a pair lined up this year, right? Oh.
I have four. I don't understand how that happened. Shut up. All right, we don't listen. We can analyze what happened
for you.
We can analyze what happened, or we can just acknowledge it and move on. So yes, I have four Papuan Carpets now.
It's wonderful. It's a wonderful thing. There's still hope for the world, I believe. Yes.
It's worse. So. It's worse now that a gold-faced white lip is leaving so that a Papuan carpet can take its cage. And I don't know what odd, bizarre world I'm living in over here, but that's
it really
happening.
Is the end of time.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's the end days. It's the end days for sure.
I can't. I'm mad at myself for these decisions.
You know how, like they say that the poles are shifting. I think that's
that's not okay.
Shifting. Yeah. Pretty soon, I'm going to have rhino rats and Asian rat snakes all over the place. But we have
I know a guy
Gerard.
Who can get you some.
Yeah, do you? From Oceania. Oh yeah, I said that right. Oceania Exotics, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yep. Nobody stopped you. Keep going.
Owen always gives me this look that makes me feel like I'm talking like a dummy.
No. When you fuck up, it's when my eyes get really big and I'm like right in front of the person. Really? Like it? No, this didn't happen. I was like, keep going.
No, very good.
Not like we've done I think we've done a couple podcasts at this point, but I don't know anymore. So
a few. Well, I think we've done 573 of them, and now we're on 4. We do have a couple things to announce to keep you going. We have we're a week and a half away from the Northeast Carpet Fest, September 14th from 12 p.m. to 11 p.m. in my house, Warminster, PA. So that should be good. If you want to find out more details about that, go to Northeast Carpet Fest group page over on Facebook, and you can get more info. And then we also have the 2024 Texas Carpet Fest, and that will be Saturday, October 19th from 2 to 11. It's at Replandia Zoo in Johnson City, Texas, and the contact for that would be Michael Taylor. So I should announce, I didn't tell you, Owen, because I know you're the master of ceremonies.
I don't like it. I don't like where this is going already, but go on.
I'm going to be making smash burgers, so they're covered.
But that was obvious. I knew that was going to happen. Like the amount of smash burgers I ate last year, I'm pretty sure almost gave me a coronary because you kept making them.
You gout.
I mean, it's something like that, but like you kept making them and handing them to Rob, and then Rob would just hand them to me, and then you'd turn around and see Rob didn't have a cheeseburger, so you'd hand it to Rob again, and I'm like, I have like 3 cheeseburgers in my hand. Like, I don't know what's happening here. I'm not complaining. I'm like, but at that point, I think it was like, but you decided to make the smash burgers. You're like, it's 12:30 at night. Now is the time to make the cheeseburgers.
What's the
I'm like, wait,
time to have smash burgers?
Wait,
my protein was low.
I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining.
Yeah. So. Okay. I like that you're not complaining.
All right.
Anyway, we'll be making those. And I don't know if Zach is coming. However, I do know how to make the mojito chicken. So if he's coming, then that'll be good. If he's not coming, we'll make some mojito chicken.
If someone's listening to this and can check on that, because I know we could check on that, but that's too easy. So I prefer to have somebody else do it, or
you are the master of ceremonies.
Signal, and I want to send it out there and see if it comes back. Project it out into the world. I don't want to actually I don't know, text him or something. But yeah,
I could. I guess I could do that.
You could. We have the technology.
All right. Anything else that you wanted to get into before we start talking my favorite carpet python in the world?
I do have to get into
you have to get into some.
Oh, really? We're gonna do this? Okay. Okay. It's just good friend, other buddy, is opening a pet store in Lansdale, Pennsylvania.
Nice.
I believe this weekend is their grand opening. So that is coming up. So that is definitely going to be one of those cool things. They said it was this week, this Friday at 5:00. They're having a little bit of a ceremony thing, but then they'll officially be open at like Saturday. So yeah.
Are you going Friday?
What? I wish I could, but he's doing it right when I'm still at work. So I don't think I'm going to get there, but I'm going to try to go there after it opens. I think maybe the Saturday, but that's Oaks. So I'll see. I'll figure it out. If I can go, I would love to, but it's 321 West Main Street Lane.
Should we go together?
I would like to. I mean, we can plan that out. Okay. We can figure it out.
Okay. Very good.
But it's 321 West Main Street, Lansdale, PA. If you're in that area, they're going to do fish and reptiles at that pet store. What?
It's fish and chondros.
Fish and chondros. It's really all you need. If you do it right, at the Philly Zoo, you can have the fish and then the chondros. Like you can have the water with the fish and then the snake on a stick. So
good point. Good point. Okay.
So they're going to do that. I know they'll definitely be carrying some cool animals because he keeps asking me about selling him cool animals. So there you go.
Excellent. Another place to wholesale to.
An exotic pet store nearby that we know the guy. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Okay. That's cool. Congrats to him, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Like we only talk about it, but he actually did it. How about that?
Well, yeah. I mean, he's burning a favor right now, making me talk about it on air. So, he counts. So, it's.
Oh,
but
now he owes you.
No. Now I think we're even. I don't know yet. I'll have to double check. I have to look at the scorecard. But yeah.
All right, cool. This weekend, if you're listening to this after the fact, it would be what? What's this weekend? The 8th, 7th?
Yeah. So they open up the 6th on Friday, so they'll be open for business the 7th and 8th. If you're coming down for Carpet Fest or coming up for Carpet Fest, it's not too far away. So if maybe it's a post Carpet Fest thing or a pre Carpet Fest thing, you want to swing by his shop and check it out. Yeah. I was there when they were doing construction, so I can tell you it looks like a room with the beginnings of tanks and shelves. I haven't seen it since. So
okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But there you go.
All right. Way to go, other buddy. All right. Anything else?
No, that's it. I have nothing else. Oh, damn it. Okay, yeah, Oaks. I'm not vending. I'll be there. If I see you, hi. If I don't, because I'm just going for food. So more often than not, I'm going to run in, pay my rodent guy, run out, and then hopefully not come with another reptile because I need to stop. Why won't anybody stop me? No one's stopping me.
You just, I've tried, man. You don't listen.
You haven't. It's not trying. There's no trying here.
Tie you down?
Yeah, I mean, like, it's like you're like, listen, you got to stop. By the way, here's a hypo carpet python. Like, I mean, you're helping.
Well, that's not buying them. That's just getting one.
Stop it. Breed these. Okay. Like, yeah. Do what I want you to do. Okay.
Okay. All right. Very good.
So yeah,
what did you just get something or something? Didn't you just buy something? We're saying this.
I refuse to have this conversation. To the third degree.
Sounds like a Morelli Minutes conversation. All right, very good.
It probably is also, I maybe not have bought something, but I did make a breed loan deal thingy that I got to talk to you about. But yeah, it's fine.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
That's why Jason Balin's calling me. All right. Very good.
Well, maybe. Crap. Yeah, maybe. So whatever. We'll figure it out.
We're so unprofessional, Gerard.
Very.
I'm sorry.
Oh my God. Why did we do this?
How you doing, man? Welcome to Morelia 500 Radio.
Good, man. Good to be here. Good to be here. Kind of a trip
awesome.
After listening for so long, sitting here. I feel like I've talked to you guys before.
Yeah. It's Ron St. Pierre said the same thing. He's like, it's weird to hear your voice coming out of your mouth. And I'm like, thank you. Like, I don't, it's probably weird for me too, but yeah. So Cool.
Yeah, it's for me. I listen to, like, if I'm listening to Joe Rogan when I was driving so much at work, I felt like I knew the guy, like, personally, like he was my friend. I don't know. You just listen to somebody for 9 hours a week, and you sort of like, oh, okay, yeah, I get this guy.
I know this guy. Yeah,
I work for a building supply company, and while I'm building orders or out on the road doing deliveries, I've got one AirPod in, and I'm always listening to you guys. So it's it's a little
Very
bit of a
nice.
trip. Eric's like, you want to come on? I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, but well, now my question is, will you listen to your own episode? Because I have weird things about that where I can't listen to myself.
So do
Yeah.
I'm gonna be like, my voice sounds like helium right now.
I will listen to anybody else's. Like Lucas was just on The Expert and the Idiot, and I listened to him.
That was good. Yeah.
But if I'm ever on that show, I will not listen to myself. I can't. I listen to Eric when he goes on all the other things, mainly because I want to hear how many times he mentions me. But you know,
I'll listen back.
I can't listen to
myself.
myself.
Idiot.
So many,
idiot.
Hey, that guy I do that show with, he's such a moron. Yeah, there I am. So,
Yeah.
If I go on The Expert and the Idiot, I'm like, we know which one you waited till last to talk to. Idiot.
Oh, I'm gonna RSVP for Carpet Fest too because I'm not on Facebook. So,
there you go.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
6 weeks from a presidential election, I'm avoiding Facebook like mites. Like
This seems like a smart move that I think I will adopt, but I can't because we have a Carpet Fest. A calendar competition we're going to launch now. So yeah, there we go.
Dumbest person from high school and your worst family member arguing politics. No thanks.
Yeah. And you're just in the middle, like, look, I have a cool snake. Like, that's
I got a poplin.
Yeah, that's most of my life right there. Yeah.
I like carpet pythons.
I like carpet pythons.
You must
Shut up, you. Cool.
All right. So go ahead, Owen. You start us off.
So what was the introduction to reptiles? What dragged you into us?
So I've got kind of pretty much a similar story to Eric. My dad was super into snakes. He started with, he worked landscaping, and one day he was excavating something and dug up a whole nest of brumating or hibernating black racers and brought one home, and that was in a tank. He had a greenhouse off of the bedroom in the house I grew up in. And that one black racer turned into 400 and something snakes 3 years later. 12-foot berm. He had bloods. He bred Macklots back in I want to say it was 1994.
Wow.
So, wow. He was kind of an OG back then. So I always laugh when I hear Keith McPeak talk about New York Reptilia, because that was like the trip. I live on the east end of Long Island in New York, Long Island.
Okay.
And we would that would be like the Saturday trip to go out to into Queens to go to New York Reptilia. I think about it. I had to have run into Keith when I was 12 or 13 years old. The times I went to that place.
There are moments after you meet people in the reptile thing where it's like we had to have passed each other, walked past each other,
100%.
checked out each other's shit, had to.
I think my dad vended at one of their tables at the NRBC, NRBE when it was Daytona, but Orlando. The first 3 or 4 years it was open.
Okay.
That was our family vacation to go down to Orlando for the show. I'm trying to figure out how to convince my wife to do that. So if you got
that is, I got away with it this year. I don't know how well. I'm like, you can do yours, and I'll just run off over here. And she's like, I get to go to the beach and leave you. Yeah, and it worked. So
go buy snakes.
Go away. All right, yay! And then I just ran off. So yeah, it was. But that's awesome to kind of have that, because I mean, Eric and I have had those conversations where I'm like, I'm pretty sure I was at Balin's table talking to him, and then like I left and Eric came and talked to Balin, and we just didn't know each other. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that happened. So
sure, that's wild.
Yes. So he had snakes,
cool.
And then I got into high school. Got into cars and sports and girls, and he eventually sold the snakes. I moved out of the house, moved out to Colorado, came back to New York, and I was like, one day I was talking, one of the guys I work with breeds ball pythons. And we got into like the conversation. I was like, oh, my dad used to have snakes. And so I mentioned to my wife, I was like, I think I kind of want to get into snakes. And she was like, well, why? I was like, my dad kept them and they're really cool. And, maybe we could like make a little extra money with them. And so I was showing her pictures of chondros, which I now realize I was showing her pictures of the sickness. I was like, look,
up here.
I was like, no, I could totally do that.
I could totally do this. I can make this in our basement. Well,
I was like, my dad bred snakes. So I started thinking on it, and I was like, chondros. He had a jungle carpet. I think I posted it on my Instagram, which I remember being the brightest yellow thing. This is like a 1993, 92 jungle carpet python. And now I look at him like, that thing is brown. Like,
dude, we have, like, Eric and I were talking about that. We were like, this is the best caramel jag ever. And then you're looking back pages a couple things ago, and you're like, no, it was a couple gens back, man. No.
Yeah, that's actually one of the Maclots when I was little. Yep.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Little 12 or 13-year-old me holding it. My room was completely filled with snakes. He filled up the hallway, the entire upstairs like foyer area, and then it spilled into my room. I remember coming back from a school field trip, and there were like 2 new Rubbermaid tubs, like the sweater boxes in there, and I looked in and I was like, what's in there? 2 albino berms. And he would always tell my mom, no, I had those. So I don't know how he went from 1 to 400.
Those were there. Yeah.
When I started keeping snakes, my mom told my wife, she's like, watch him.
You'll never count. You'll never know. I remember sneaking animals in when I was still living with my mom, and she's like, no more. I'm like, yeah. I had a jacket at the time that the lining was ripped. So I would just let the snake loose in the jacket, and I would just walk in, and I'm like, I got nothing. And this thing's like going up and over my shoulder, or it's along the bottom of the lining of the jacket, just curled up. And I'm like, no. And then I go downstairs and I'm like fishing in the jacket to get it out. Yeah. I got several snakes in that way. And she just stopped caring because it was just easier.
Yeah.
My
wife, finally, she was like, yeah, like, get a call, get something. And here I am, 2.5 years later, and I've got the 3rd room of the house commandeered, and
he's got a couple. Oh yeah, couple. Yeah, I'll get a couple. Yeah.
I'm sitting at her makeup desk that she never uses because she's like, it's too hot to do makeup in that room. Sorry, honey.
Nice.
A good wife is the key to this. So
yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Or at least.
So I had the opposite thing. I had the opposite situation recently. We were cleaning the house for Carpet Fest, doing various things, and she comes into the snake room because I moved the now I have my freezer in the snake room, Owen. The little chest freezer is like in the snake room, right? So she comes in and she looks around and she's like, what are you, going out of business? I was like, wait, what? And she's like, there's like nothing in this room anymore. And I was like, yeah, well, I'm trying to slim it down, and
I'm hyper focused now,
and like have cages. She's like, I don't know about this. And I'm like, what? What happened?
You should get more snakes. Like, what?
Yeah, I know. It's weird. I don't know. So anyway,
Awesome.
Run with it.
What does the collection look like now? Like what's you sitting at now?
So right now I've got 5.7 Papuans of varying wild types, and I'm real deep into the Exantic granite project, so I don't don't know what the breakdown is between wild types and that. And I've got a pair of inlands.
Cool. Okay.
And then other real focused, I dabbled in other stuff. I had a pair of Sonoran boas for a little bit. I had a pair of diamonds. Didn't like them, oddly enough, but
really?
I wanted to. I really the male was a psychopath. The worst snake I've ever owned.
Really?
Ate like crap. Nervous, flighty. He's living with Ish now. So we
okay.
All right. Yeah. I mean,
I was like, here, Ish.
Just do that. So, yeah. Okay.
And I've got some of Ish's animals here. So,
Okay.
Very cool.
Yeah. I when I got back into it, the first one I got was a Gamma Sib from Martin Rosemond.
Okay.
Which I looked at. I was so into doing a Gamma project.
Mm-hmm.
And then I watched a video of a Jag, and I was like, nope, not doing it.
I really want what's wrong with it? Like,
that was a fatal mistake. I was I was pestering Gary Shavino about some of his Diamond Jungle Jags, and I was close, and then I was just like, I can't do it. So so Papuans it is, and I think that's the lane I'm just gonna sit in.
It's a lane that there's a lot of stuff that you can kind of have fun with in that lane. So
for sure.
What kind of drew you to carpet python as opposed to going like Max and stuff? I know you said your dad had a jungle. Was it kind of like trying to reconnect with that? Or?
I really remember that snake. I thought that snake was awesome. And when I started looking at chondros, I was like, this was like pre-COVID too. So the chondro prices were like, boom. Like, that's the jungle right there. Yeah. Yep. Super yellow.
Super yellow. But it hurts the eyes. Like, it's well, it's still a nice looking animal regardless. I like the building blocks. It's got dark black.
No, that was a cool jungle.
Yeah.
That snake was, it was, I think it was a male. It was super like impressive, 6-foot animal. I just remember that. So then when I was getting back into it, I also remember a Reptiles magazine centerfold of an IJ. IJ.
Right. No, I don't remember that.
I don't remember seeing the flames up the side and being like, wow. But they weren't, they were just coming into the hobby then, 93, 94. So those were like the early import years.
Yeah.
And I remember looking at that and being like, wow, those flames are awesome. And when I got back into it, I went to Morph Market and I looked at it and I was like, I must have been looking at babies, like the copper color. And I was like, these things are dog shit. So and then I started looking around a little bit and, doing Google searches. And I remember seeing an Exantic granite. I was like, what is that?
Yeah.
Like, holy crap, that's what I want.
Yeah, Papuan Exantic is so. I was hanging out at Mike Curtin's place over the weekend, and I called them Papuan Carpets, and he yelled at me and said, "Just call them freaking IJs." I'm like, okay. So
when you're around me, you call them IJs.
You call them IJs. Yes, Mr. Curtin. Yeah. So
yes.
Nick sitting and watching.
Yeah,
who said that?
Yeah, he heard it. He heard it. He knows Nick Mutton knows where to find me if he wants me. Okay, so yeah, but I do
granite Exantic.
Those are some pretty animals. Regardless, I mean, Exantic and Papuan is really nice, and I love a good granite. So
I have a regular Exantic female from Andrew Paris, and
nice.
I have a male granite from actually from part of that trade with Ish. And I think that's the Xantha granite. Yeah.
Okay.
That snake, there's a funny story with that one. That popped up on Morph Market over the winter for an absolutely exorbitant amount of money. And Ben Nicholson and I were, messaging back and forth. I talk to him all the time. And I guess he contacted, Ben's great. Oh my God, awesome. So he messaged the seller and was like, what's the background on it? And the guy was like, oh, it's one of my employees. He bought it at a show. He doesn't know any lineage on it. And, Ben was basically kind of like told him, he's like, not for that price, bro. Like,
no.
you better have, for something like that, you better have some serious lineage behind it. So it sat. And, Ben and I would talk about it sometimes. And I'm like, oh man, it is beautiful. Like it's crazy. So one day in passing, we're messaging and I was like, that kind of looks like a Starkey Xantha granite. And he was like, yeah, you're right. I think he had posted last year's baby or something. I'm like, that super heavy granite pattern and the remnants of the stripe in it. So I just kind of said it like offhand. 2 days later, Ben is like, dude, you were totally right. He's like, that is this snake. And he showed me an ad from 2019 on Morph Market. We went CSI Papua New Guinea on these things, like on that snake. We were like, I had the split screen of the ad and the Morph Market ad, and I was like, oh, that head scale is the same. That's the same. This is the same snake. I said this to like multiple people. I'm like, does this look like the same snake to you? And I went back on. I actually logged on to Facebook and went back to Star Pythons and found a alternate side of the same snake and did like the forensic. I was like, this is the same snake. So at the time I had a bunch of excess stuff in the collection that like really wasn't serving my immediate goals. So I sold that off. So I had some money to play with. I said, hey, Ben, you had kind of said you were interested in this. Do you want to go for it or can I, take a stab? I'm going to make him an offer. And he was like, no, go ahead. I think he was having like car trouble or something at the time. So I made them a stupid low offer. Same thing. I got the same story. We don't know the lineage. I was like, hey, you want lineage on it? Like, so I made him a like embarrassingly low offer on it. And he was like, yeah, I'll take it. I was like,
okay. All right.
So I messaged, I had actually messaged Phil Starkey and he gave me the full background on it. He's like, it's pure. The mother was from Raphael Dahl. The father was from Oliver Vase. I was like, good enough for me.
Oh, nice.
So, wow. Bought her in, and
it's big time players over there in Europe.
Yeah. That snake is just. I look at her and I'm like, I can't believe this thing is sitting here.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's one of those. You have those snakes that every once in a while you go into your snake room and you're like, holy shit, that's freaking awesome! I can't believe that's here. Wow.
Yeah,
this is cool.
From seeing it in the on Google and then 2.5 years later, I'm like, I'm going to breed this thing this year. So, or try to.
That's cool.
I imagine too, it's one of those things where you're not getting the full effect of it unless you see it in person. Am I off by that?
So ridiculous in person. I opened that bag and I was like,
that's awesome.
It's green. It
nice.
When it sheds like that, you can see it in that picture. It's green.
Yeah.
The
Wow.
the regular Exanthic I have from Andrew Paris, like when it sheds and they fire up like regular Papuans do. When it's fired up, the flames on the side are green.
That's
Wow.
awesome. So what project have you built around this animal?
So I have, I've been slow playing. I have a male double hat by way of Nick that I don't post a lot that I came across, and 100% double hat Exanthic granite. So he's going to her this year. So
cool.
Fingers crossed that we got some double visuals popping out.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
And
I've got like I said, the majority of my Papuan collection is in the Exanthic granite. I've got a pair of 23 double hats from Nick out of the Hannibal GQ by Visual Exanthic granite that he did. They look like they're amazing. They're crazy looking, and they just happen. When he sold me, when he said they're going to be the best looking Papuans that you've seen, and they just happen to be 100% double hats. I was like, sold, send them. It's just fire them over here.
Is this your first clutch at carpet that you're going for this year, or
I had a maternally incubated clutch that I did this year for that's one of the double hats right there.
Oh, cool.
That's the male. He's like kind of washed out, not as yellow. The female is super yellow. When I opened the box, I was like, how is that a double hat?
Yeah, that you'd expect to kind of mess with it a little bit, but I guess not.
Well,
it's that GQ blood, man.
Whatever.
Super yellow. That is washed out compared to the female.
Jesus.
Let's see if I can find the female.
She's I got a kind of a close up of her. She's on a branch. I think I labeled it as like, just another brown dirt snake or something like that.
Yeah, just another brown dirt variegata.
She's the one that I used for the thumbnail. Yeah, that's a nice one.
Yeah,
particularly like that.
That's a
100%
double hat.
Yeah, she's got nice color coming up on her saddles.
Yeah.
The other thing I love about
Papuans
is when they get this black right here on the labial pits right here.
Oh
it's
yeah,
just pop. Oh man, that's sick. It's like Boland's. It's like a cheap man's Boland's. Yeah. Man, she's nice. Very nice.
So many other animals to compare to Boland's, but all right, yeah. So
that pair is cool, and I have a 21 posset, which I will eat my hat if she's not Exanthic. So I'm convinced. So we just got to play the odds on her being 66% het granite, and she'll go to. I'm thinking the male of this pairing next year.
Okay, when he just needs a little bit more time to.
Yeah, he needs a little more time.
Yeah.
So I've had this conversation with Nick, right? I had this conversation with Nick about yellow and Exanthic, right? And like, I get what you're saying, especially with this girl here. It's like we're looking at her, and it's like, isn't Exanthic supposed to take away the yellow,
to kill the color? Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
At least do something. Yeah.
I feel that like when I would look at ball python stuff, the coolest Exanthic stuff was always like the pastel Exanthic or the bumblebee Exanthic that had like that high yellow type of vein going on, and it just kind of like, kicked it up. Me and Nick have not argued about it, but sort of debated the fact of, he says that why would you put yellow into something you're trying to take the yellow away? But my feeling is, it's like if it's going to take the yellow away, and maybe it doesn't work like this. I'm sure Travis will message us and tell me I'm wrong.
Yeah, most
but I feel like if it's clean, maybe I don't know. It just makes it look super clean. So I would imagine that if you're, so I don't know. What do you guys think? Like, what do you think is,
Well,
are you're obviously using that?
Yeah. If you make it more, if you make the yellow more intense and then turn it blue,
take it away.
Yeah. Like, does that, like, cause then I mean, is that how you get bright, intense blue? Is that it starts as bright, intense yellow and then you just like take one gene away and turning it blue? Yeah. I mean, it makes sense to me because we always talk about good in on both sides equal good out. You know, it's the jungle thing. You know, you can grab a jungle off a table and throw it to your female, but would you rather do that, or would you rather keep your powder dry and somehow sneak away an animal from a friend or a known jungle breeder? Like, that's going to get you better stuff. So
I've got a weird theory that the granite gene plays around with the axanthic a little bit too.
I mean, there's so much color in the granite. That makes sense to me too.
I've asked Nick, you know, about identifying them out of the egg, and he did. I wish I could find the email, so you know, I don't want to misquote him. I think I remember him saying like they're harder to spot when it's mixed with granite. So I think like, yeah. Okay. So I think that maybe there's something going on with those two genes that, you know, it doesn't mute as much of the yellow, you know, because Eric, have you bred just straight axanthics, and have you seen hets out of the egg? Like, they're easy to spot from a regular red baby, right? Even the hets.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I think from what I remember Nick saying in that email was that when they're mixed with granite, that it does something. He couldn't really quantify what it was, but I don't want to misquote him. Okay. I'll get, you know, headlock or something.
I mean, we misquote him all the time.
All the time.
So, like,
there's a book out there I misquote all the time.
Yeah. So now, do the hets? I mean, the thing is with coastal is Nick always said that it was easier to spot, excuse me, a het axanthic coastal because it looked very close to an axanthic carpet. Like, it was like,
it looked same like with Papuans.
Yeah, same with Papuans. So it kind of is that way where it's, and I think it would kind of maybe stand out a little bit more when you're expecting babies to be red.
Yes. 100%. Yeah, that's sort of the my experience. I've bred visuals. I bred hets. You can definitely tell them out of the egg, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I have double hets
for me.
So I had double hets that I bred a dark granite to a axanthic female, which is a lighter. She's not lighter. I don't know how to explain. It's like she's muted or something, like a ghost almost. Like if you know, like
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. So I bred them together, and I did get some that looked, but nothing like that. Nothing like the yellow in it at all. It was more muted type of, maybe more like the male you had is what I.
Yeah, it's so wild that there's that much variability in that clutch. I mean, they're clutch mates. And it was a visual axanthic to Hannibal, something from Dan Romanowski. So that female that he's been using the last couple of years, that snake is awesome.
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about. Oh my god,
that snake is actually
an older
sibling of the male that I used for my wild type, the clutch I got this year. So the male from that breeding is a couple of years down the line out of that same clutch or the same parentage.
I gotcha. I think like I think it only makes sense that it would, you know, like if we're starting to delve into the world of now with Papuans, where we have some founding animals that have been bred a couple times, and like GQ is one I'm thinking of, and that sort of gives pretty. I mean, I can spot a GQ animal just by looking at it. They have certain looks. I don't know how I don't know how to explain it, but
like
you just
Tiger
see it,
Eye
you know.
They have that same look.
Yeah.
When I saw the Tiger Eye Jays, I was like, they look exactly like the GQ animals. That big wide band, and then like banding on the big back stripe, and then the banding on the side.
Yeah. Yeah, and they have something about their head too. So
super
I've
yellow.
had yeah. And sometimes when they age, some of them stay the yellow, and I've had some of them that sort of get like the khaki tiger color, like a tiger carpet type of look. But I think when you breed that, like I bred that to my first time I bred poison ivy, I bred to a GQ animal, and they all came out normal looking, and then it actually started to be nice, and then they started turning black. So it was like, wait a minute.
Did they have the GQ patterning that washed out? Yeah, they did.
Yeah, yeah. Now
so the
it's
female that I bred that male to was dark, and I actually remember thinking to myself, I'm like, it would actually be cool to have that GQ pattern, but with like a darker, not the melanistic like poison ivy, but I was like, oh, if some of those popped out like dark, that would actually be pretty cool. Like to have that like that broad stripe and the bands, and then be dark.
Sure.
There's always that point in a carpet python where you're like, and stop right here. This is where no, stop. Like, this is where I want you. And then they kind of are like, more black. It's like, no, God damn it. Like, so that happens a lot.
More black and poplins, though, is I'm appreciating that the more I get into them. I look at them, I'm like, the iridescence when you look at them that you don't see in a regular wild type, it's just absurd.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's I guess what I was thinking is the more and more that we breed those selectively bred projects into things like the granite exanic and stuff, I think there's tons of ways you're going to
see alteration. You're going to see stuff like especially because it's like what you were talking about with founder animals. It's like, well, yeah, like exanic granites look great now, but imagine them in the next couple of years, because zebras improved. Like, they got better. As people read shit, like jags improved, caramel jags improved. So it just keep working with the project. It's going to get better. So
as more and more people pop out the exanthic granites and you get the actual visuals, like when the variation in those start getting bred to each other, like that's what I want to do, down the road. Like when I'm producing just exanthic granites, there's no, hets involved. Oh, this one's super light. This one's super dark. Like hold that one back, figure it out.
Well, that and also so as you pick the holdbacks and build the project, like you're gonna be breeding the best of this to the best of this and that, and then that's how it starts.
I think that's the fun thing with carpets. It's like you sort of think your project's gonna go one way, and then they pop out, and you're like, this one's kind of cool. I'll keep this one. I guess I'm going in this direction now.
When
that's how you build multiple projects. That's how you and I end up having we have 4 different tiger projects. They're all tigers, but they are 4 different tiger projects. Yeah.
Make sure my wife doesn't hear me, but that's how you get to 400 snakes.
And then people, and you're like, hey man, I need this snake, and they're like, I got 12 of them. You're like, crap. And
I'm really, really hoping that the inlands go this year, because I'm going to try to tempt you for like a trio of inlands for some roughies, Owen. Like maybe
that's going to be a hard sell. It's going to be. I'm sorry, that's going to be a hard sell. Know your limits, but it's.
You're talking to the wrong host.
Sorry, buddy. That's you. That is the wrong bait.
Years.
Listen, you gotta when fishing for Owen, you can't use Eric bait, because that's not how that. Yeah. So people do that though. They're like, I have these great Papuans. I'm like, you want the other guy, right? You want the other guy.
I'm the guy with the beard.
Yeah, you want the other. I'm this guy. You know who I am, right?
No, I said inlands.
I know.
Oh, okay.
And,
I thought I've been hearing.
and like
you
I
say
said,
for
it's
2 years,
like
I gotta get inlands.
well, I gotta get inlands, but right now I'm sitting here and I'm like, I gotta clear space, and I'm letting go of breadlie and white lips, and if I have to let go of white lips, I am desperate for space. Like it's
Well, that should make it easier. No?
White lips, and you have the end days are on us.
No. I still have 6 gold white lips and 2 blacks. It's fine. We're fine. It's okay. Also, I will
have what, 36 roughies?
I mean, an undisclosed number, but and listen, when the Papuans breed, I will be loading them into a t-shirt cannon and sending them to Eric's. Like, I'm gonna be in his front yard. I'll be like, you in your backyard? Yeah, good. Like it's here you go, Grant. That's
no love.
No.
Did you get that pair from Chris Lemmy that you were talking about?
Yep.
You did. Yeah.
Yep. I this is how messed up the world is. I messaged him and I'm like, give me a price. And then 2 days go by and I'm like, what's going on? He goes, oh shit, you were serious. I'm like, yes, I was serious. Like, tell me this shit. I'm gonna pay you for them, and then I'm gonna breed them, and we're gonna be done with this. And then I think he didn't want to have to. He didn't want me to potentially take a bullet out of the gun that you all people have, because if I do it, then y'all have to shut up about it. So he's like, I don't know if I want to sell them to you. I'm like, okay, you do.
The female I bred last year was from Chris. She was a wild caught that Dan had bought in. Chris is he's awesome. Good dude.
Yeah. Chris
he's all right.
Awesome.
Yeah. I think he's got some IJ issues, but he's all right. So we'll keep him.
It was
but get Eric.
I was gonna say, do you have any plans on getting imports to add into your group? Like,
so after the latest batch that Lucas and Riley bought in, those I joined Dan Maleri's Patreon, and I was like, hey Dan, I need some import pop.
Oh yeah,
and he was too happy to get you some.
Yeah,
I hit him up, and he never answered me back. I'm a Patreon member. What the heck?
You've lost favor of Dan. Damn, dude.
Oh man. Sorry.
It was funny because I think I pissed Dan off. He was like, "Oh, what are you looking for?" And I was like, "I'd like Apodori young, and maybe like some Tracier young." And he's like, don't make demands."
I mean, sorry,
Dan.
I mean, it's bad.
Sorry,
when you're like, I would like one unicorn, and then I would like a second unicorn, and then it's like, what? Okay, like listen, I'll placate you and be like, sure, maybe, but the second you start,
give me the pop ones.
There you go.
Those imports that Lucas and Riley bought in this year are just stupid. Actually, awesome. Eric, they remind me. I was looking at your Instagram page today. Your PC Bell one that you posted a while back. Those look strongly like that.
Really? Okay.
I thought, cool. I thought they did.
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, some of those ones that come in, man, like some of them are really like.
There were two that
really
were just
killer, man.
They were just stupid. Like I think they actually split them. One went one way, one went the other. So
okay.
I'm gonna be pestering both of them in the next couple of years.
It's always
one
fun
person can't be that powerful with both. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You know where they go. As long as you know where they go, you can kind of.
I am a big proponent. As long as I know where it went, I'm okay with it leaving. As long as I know where it went.
Like whenever you guys are ready to breed those, just send them to one or the other and just breed them. Those two.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a good play. Okay. And then is there any other, is there a bloodline or a look that you don't have that you would want to get into? Or
I've got a decent amount of stuff represented. I don't have any. Why am I drawing a blank? Coastals, Texas.
MPN.
Oh, yeah. Gotcha.
I don't have any MPN anything. The Tiger IJ stuff is wild. And, you know, being in New York, I'm a hop, skip, and a relative jump to, you know, going out to the shows in Pennsylvania and seeing Balin and Kohler. So,
I mean, yeah. I've seen the Tiger IJs.
Did you see the one, Owen, that he just posted up a little while ago?
Oh my God,
I see everything. Yeah, I saw that in the deli cup.
Person?
Yeah,
Did
of course I did.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I saw it and I'm like, and I threw it over there. Like I just heaved it. It was get this the hell out of here. Show me more caramels. Like, yeah, I mean, come on.
Oh my gosh.
You know, this is me. Remember? I go through your snake room and you're like, look at this. And I close the drawer and no, show me this dirt brown coastal under here. Yeah, no, it's
all the Papuan people would be like, oh my God, this is amazing. And you're just like, whatever.
Looks all right. Next.
And then I were texting that back and forth, like, oh my God, you see this thing?
They are impressive, the Tiger IJs. And I like what they're doing and I also know that there's been fertility issues and stuff with the clutches and stuff like that. So I know them holding everything close to the chest is good, but that's only good.
Yeah. Oh my God. That looks like the hypos that they were posting in Europe.
Yes.
Help in the long run as you get more. Yes.
That's it. When they last year when they were posting
way back when,
hypos,
yeah.
I was on Instagram talking to Rafael Dahl, Carlos, all those. I was trying to put a group of guys together to import some of those hypos. It just never seemed to work. But yeah, some of those European, they have that broad back and the bands, especially Northern Harrisone. His name.
Oh yeah. I know who you're talking about.
A lot of the European stuff is just crazy.
Could you imagine going to Ham, but not having like I imagine if I ever went to Ham, I'd have to have like I'd have to have a box. Like I'd have to know that if I bought shit, it could come home. Because I'm not going there just to be like, that's awesome. Can't touch it. Like I wouldn't be able to do it.
A couple months ago, you had on who bred Mr. Blue?
Oh,
Tim Mars.
Yeah,
he was on and he was talking about importing house snakes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and that he was like, "Oh, it's like $250." I was like, "How? Like, how do you do
that?" Because nobody cares about house snakes.
In what goddamn world? Like it's $250 for the box.
Everything I found was like $3,000.
Yeah,
to import.
Oh, yeah, easy.
Yeah.
I think even with like I know that Redline Shipping is doing UK shipments and stuff like that.
Oh,
they're partnering with a company. I think even with that, it's still not going to be cheap. And I've shipped stuff to Canada, and that's just more of a hassle. It's not really any more expensive, but I only ship it to the place where it goes, and then it sits there, and then they ship it on. So for all I know, the people in Canada who are paying to have the animals are now paying double because it's like $100 for me to get it to wherever it needs to go, and then I don't even know how much money it costs to get into Canada. So
it's kind of a hard sell. Like you give me the steak for free, and I'll ship it over here.
Right, it's maybe we'll have to talk at some point if that becomes more viable to do that. I would definitely import those.
You didn't talk to you're talking about importing hypo IJs and you didn't talk to him. Like, I mean, that would have been my first phone call.
I didn't know Eric.
I
would have done. I got blessed.
Right. Oh, I would have done this and be like, hey man, there's a box of hypo IJs. Can I slip a couple white lips in here? Like, I don't. Yeah. So
it was funny. I would like comment on Eric's. I was like, "Oh, awesome state, awesome Papuan." I'd be like, "Notice me."
Yeah, please. Hi. Hello, Podfather.
Nice.
Mr. Podfather. Yeah.
It's funny that like we're doing this right before Carpet Fest because I was gonna show up like next week and be like, "Hi, nobody knows me. What's up?"
I mean, I try.
Well, there you go, man.
I try to keep quiet and come in disguise, and like I think I've worn different name tags a couple times. But second I open my big fat mouth, it's really obvious who the hell I am. So yeah,
there's no mistaking.
Yeah.
Back to the picture real quick. So my Tiger IJs, right, have this same mark right here. It's exactly.
No, I don't even know why. I don't even know why I'm asking. I'm like, you have Tiger IJs. Of course you have Tiger IJs.
That break in the neckline.
You see how it's like there's so much pattern on the side of the neck.
Yeah.
There. Like, let me see if I can do it. Yeah, it's right here. Like right here.
Yeah.
It's like, so that same. I'll take a picture of it and
are you gonna
post it on Instagram?
You gonna breed your Tiger IJs?
Yeah, probably next year.
You bred those, right?
I did Tiger to Poison Ivy and Tiger to GQ.
Because I remember Riley saying something in a podcast about a Tiger IJ that you had sent to him. I was like, "Oh, Eric bred them," because I've heard the stories that they're a bit of a train wreck.
Cabana.
Yeah.
Mine weren't. I don't know if it's because mine are not as. So my Tiger IJ, I outcrossed them. So I don't know if that had something to do with it. I don't know if I just had a better male. The male was huge. Oh my god.
God, I remember him.
So big.
I remember they handed it to me. I'm like, this is not an IJ. This is a coastal. And they're like, no. I'm like, no. And it was.
I ultimately think sad to say, but I ultimately think he killed Poison Ivy because he had them
crowded
together,
her off. Yeah.
Pushed her away from the heat and. Yeah.
And then Eric strangled him to death.
Yeah, fuck that snake.
What are you doing? But I mean, yes, the legends are true. Eric bred something and let it go. So yeah.
Yes, it did happen.
Yeah, it did happen once.
Yeah. So I'm gonna jump into this because I thought this just I don't know, it just dawned on me. So and you had a thought on this as well when we were talking earlier, but so something about Papuan carpets in water bowls, right? And I got this pair of Darwins, right? And now I notice these Darwins are in water bowls. So I'm like, I do the usual thing. I check mites, this, that, the other. I'm like, what the hell is it about these snakes and the fact that they like to sit in water bowls? Like, I don't.
You're soaking too much?
Are they not getting something? Or are they not like, what is it? So it just so happened that I was flipping through the complete carpet inland section and there was a picture that Darren Boswell put in there of an inland carpet in the water in ambush position. And then it dawned on, like, I don't know why I didn't think about this before. I thought, well, Burmese pythons do that. African rock pythons do that. I'm sure many pythons do that we don't know. But like those big, I would imagine retics probably maybe do the same at some point. I imagine they maybe like wait on the bank or whatever there would be. So I'm thinking, is that their ambush pose? So like we typically when we think of carpets or chondros or Morelia or whatever, usually doing that hang type of ambush pose, right? Because they want to eat, right? They're like, I'm waiting for food, I'm ready for food, hopefully food will come by. Is it the same thing that possibly they're doing?
I think you might be onto something with that because I had a holdout in my clutch this year that would not eat. I tried frozen, I tried live, I tried rats, rat pinkies. I tried brain pinkies. I tried quail. I tried everything.
Mm-hmm.
Finally, I was trying to assist feed it a fuzzy, and it kept throwing a coil over it and ripping it out of its mouth. And I was like, I got so pissed off. I cut the head off the fuzzy, and I just fed it the head. I was like, let me get something into this thing. This was like 2.5 months after first shed.
Right.
Let me get something in this. So I was messaging with Ben, and I said, oh, I finally got something into the stomach of the holdout. And he said, oh, you know, this was like a day or two later. He said, have you noticed any behavioral changes in it? And I said, honestly, it hasn't been soaking in its water bowl, because it was the only one that soaked in its water bowl. And I was convinced that it was a security thing. I was to the point where I was going to get like fake leaves and kind of just, you know, clutter up the enclosure behind me. Yeah. And finally, when I did that, it kind of like half soaked the next day, and then it was out of the water. Like to the point where I would take the water bowl out of this thing's cage every afternoon. I'd be like, no, you just dry off. So
yeah, because you don't do that, it gets blisters.
Yep. And then so I assist fed it the fuzzy head, and then I assist fed it a button quail. And by the way, button quail for baby carpets, if you're going to assist feed them, the beak breaks the mouth open, the head goes in, they have no choice but to suck the body in. And so I did that, and it seemed to jumpstart its feed response, and it finally took a fuzzy off of tongs.
Nice.
I had another one that just decided, I've had 6 meals, I don't want to eat anymore, soaking in the water bowl every day.
Okay.
So I'm like, so messaging Ben, I was like, of course, I've never had, out of a clutch of 8 babies, I've never had all 8 take on the same night of feeding. So Ben said to me, he was like, do you think that, exactly what you said, do you think that like it's in the water as an ambush thing? And I said, well, maybe. I can never get into the room to feed while it's still in the water bowl before it's out and exploring at night with my daughter's bedtime and all that stuff. I'm usually in there about an hour after lights out, and by that time it's out, you know, cruising the cage. So I'm wondering if I offered in the water, if it would. I'm gonna make an effort to try to thaw out and have it ready before it would venture out. I think you're on something with that being a ambush thing, because it has a full paper towel tube. Like it has adequate, you know, hiding. It just won't.
Yeah, I think that was my thing. It was like the temperature was right, the hides were right, you know, and it can be cool in the hide, it can be hot in the hide, you know, but it's just always in the water bowl, and it doesn't matter where I move the wood. So I thought maybe that's just trying to get away, and I always stage the water bowls at the front of like if I'm keeping them in a tub or whatever, I keep it at the front of the tub. So I'm thinking like, you know, at first my instinct was that they're trying to get away from heat. But I've seen that before. When I first started keeping IJs way back in the day, I was keeping them with the, you know, the typical old school style of 90 degrees hot spot type of thing. And that's when we sort of, Luke Snell was the one that was sort of saying to me, like, no, we should take that temperature down like 85, you know? So it's like, oh, no, they'll die, you know? and you know, it's actually, that's where they probably should be. And then I noticed that behavior changed, but they still would go in the water bowl. But when they would go to the front of the cage, they wouldn't go into the water. They would sit on the top of the the deli cup and push themselves against the, like, almost like they were laying on the tub as if it was like, you know, vertical instead of horizontal. You know what I mean? They were laying on that front. And then once I did that behavior stopped. But it just, I don't know. I don't even know why I didn't think about it before. I guess I just I've had some issues where carpets soak and they get that blister thing, and it's sort of like, I try to keep my eye on it, and then it was but what I noticed is when they soak normally, I don't get anything that goes with the blister thing. But when I had mites and they soaked, that's when I would get the blister thing. And I'm assuming
I haven't seen a single blister out of it, and I know that these two have been in the water bowl for at least a day.
As long as you keep the water
left for work, clean.
Yeah. It's when they're like, I peed in the water and I'm going to sit in it for a day. It's like, cool, thanks. Thank you for killing yourself. I like the idea of the ambush thing. I imagine IJ is much like rock pythons are just waiting for a gazelle to show up, a reasonable sized meal.
Wallaby.
Finally. Yeah, wallaby.
Wallaby.
But I will say, stepping outside of Morelia, this is how rhino rat snakes hunt and fight. This is
out of the water.
This is their go-to, right?
Okay.
So rhino babies, usually they're all over the place, hiding and stuff like that, and then they go into the water, and that's when you start getting them to feed. It's the ones that are hanging out in the water, and you kind of put the fish-scented pinky in the water with them. That's what gets them to eat. Some of them take it immediately if you lay it down, but the majority do their hunting in the water. So when they start kind of getting into the rhythm of feeding, you just see them all in their water when it's time for food, because that's especially the ones that have transitioned from fish over to pinkies, because they're like, the food is always supposed to be in here. Like, this is where it is. And then they slowly get better as you start, like, you stop fish scenting the pinky, you stop putting it in the water, you put it on land, and then they kind of change over from water to terrestrial and kind of stuff like that. But they love a good soak. And
I lend further credence to that, because last night after lights out, I came in and 7 of the 8 were on the perch in ambush pose, and that one was in the water bowl.
Being that these animals probably go for lizards, skinks, and stuff like that, especially in certain areas where water might be scarce, or this is like a rain season and stuff's going to come around water, there's something about hunting in those areas. Now, in the wild, would these things be immediately eaten by a very large fish? Probably. But in here, maybe there's something to it. Maybe they're looking for amphibians and stuff like that. So
if you put an elevated perch over a water bowl with Morelia, they're est over that water bowl.
Right up top.
Like, yeah, they know something's coming and putting its head down
to drink,
and they're going to down. Yeah.
This is a good spot to wait. So I imagine that. I would say the biggest thing is to watch for the blisters, because that stuff can happen fast, and then it is a bitch to get it to go away. And I think your idea of being like, and no more water for you, like I've had to do that.
Well, I have the little 2-ounce. I have the little 2-ounce deli cups. I mean, that thing is ramming its ass in there. I
have the little ceramics, and I had an entire clutch of coastals constantly in the water, to the point where some of them started developing blisters. So I did that. They'd have the water for a day, and then I'd pull it for like 2 days. Like, everybody's going to dry out, and then they'd get the water back. And but it was like they drink and then they'd be in it. And that was the problem, is that, they're crawling around. They're not, the cleanest of babies, because they're like, I'm just going to pee on me, and then I'm going to get in the water. And it's like, great, cool, thank you. Like, so there was that kind of stuff, is that you needed to be on top of it. So
any snake that poops or pees in its enclosure, the water is changed. Like, right. Not spot clean and water. Like, because overnight they were just dragging themselves through it, and that's where it comes in, and you have to deal with all that stuff. So, but I wouldn't see it as a. And I've heard Nick say that they're hatched before the rainy season, so they're as juveniles, they're hiding in those flooded billabongs. So not only for protection, but they're hunting from there too. Like, whatever skink jumps on a leaf near them that they're coming up, they have to do something to survive. So that's good cover for protection and hunting. I think that lends more credence to than just straight up protection.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just such a weird thing with them, you know. I don't know why.
I mean, I also
don't
think
see
it's
that. I mean, I don't see that with inlands, coastals, jungles.
I had never seen it with any of my
Ruddles.
captive born ones until these, and then I got a female F1 from Ish, and I put a decent sized water bowl in there, and she was right in there.
I would say that out of all the other stuff that I have, the level of obsession with water is pretty much on par with a rhino. Because everything else is just like, water's cool, but I don't really. I'll drink it and then I'm gonna leave it alone. Like,
I don't think I've ever seen my inland drink. Period.
That and false water, false water cobra. Well, white lips absolutely love water too. I'm gonna.
You have to have that.
But yeah, but they love humidity. Yeah. They don't necessarily like their water. They love a humid hide and death and destruction. But that's
so I kind of have a little bit of an idea with the humid hide. That one that's holding out now and in the water. I was thinking about offering it some damp sphagnum.
Yeah.
In the opposite corner to see if it wants cover or if it wants, Well, I have to have something thawed and heated and ready for it while it's in the water.
I wonder if
I'll try to get that water this weekend.
And also feeling that pressure of the water kind of on all of it, because I know that they like enclosed,
like being rammed into something.
Tight spaces, like almost like a crack in the wall. Like so, I don't know about that if that's part of it too, but
could be
maybe.
I don't know. It's just an idea that popped into my head when I saw it.
It was cool when you put that in the outline. I was like, oh, I wanted to ask you about that.
Yeah,
it's always odd when he's like, and I look at the outline and it says water bowls, and I'm like, I guess we're going to talk about how they can hold water. Like, I don't.
Yeah, this is true.
Yeah,
this is true.
They can do that.
Yeah, it does say thoughts on carpets and water bowl.
And carpets and water bowls. I hear they need them. I hear they need water. Yeah. I'm like, if this guy is going to be like, I don't give anybody water, I'm going to have some questions. Like,
they do.
Mine do better dehydrated. What?
So what was your experience with maternal incubation?
Oh, man.
Okay.
It was cool. It was nerve-wracking for the first 2 weeks. And then a good portion of it, I just kind of peeked in once a day. And then the last 2 weeks, it was also nerve-wracking. Yeah, it was one of those things I decided. I was like, you know what? Rip the Band-Aid off. Let's just do it. I had the incubator set up. I did one of the Garrett Hartle cooler, style with the aquarium pumps in there. And I had that ready in the background in case she didn't wrap or abandon them or whatever.
Well, thank God you learned to actually have an incubator as a backup.
Yeah. It's going to be weird this year. I'm going to have to decide what somebody's got to go in the incubator because I got to learn how to artificially incubate a clutch too.
Okay. Have you worked in oven before?
Yeah.
Yeah. That just, 2 months, set it, forget it. So, the cooler style one, like I dialed that in and it just stayed, like it just kept burning out gobies because of the humidity in the egg box. But it was, the 2 weeks I would get out of them, it was dialed, it was like right at 88. When you start looking at glass
humidity.
We start looking at glass front refrigerators that are broken on Craigslist going like, that's when you have a problem.
Yeah. It's funny. I said I worked for a building supply company and they had a Gatorade fridge from the checkout line that was broken. I walked up to the hardware manager. I'm like, what are you doing with that Gatorade fridge?
What's going on there?
Was nice. It was like 8 racks.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm waiting for Gatorade to come and get it.
Damn it. Well, it's broken.
Oil.
Yeah. It's bad when you
have
start
3 of them at my store.
Machines.
I have 3 of them sitting on the back dock of my store, just collecting dust.
there should be 2 of them.
Eric, I'm gonna be.
He's gonna be close.
Yeah, man.
Can it fit
I could get rid of
Camry?
him.
I'll throw it right in.
Yeah. I will tell you exactly what needs to be done. And how you should do it and how I did it, which is not how you should do it.
So I have there's 3 of them. I have a smaller one. I have a regular size one. And then there's like the Chobani type of one that was like for yogurt. So it's kind of like it's not as wide. So you could probably get one egg box in, but it's tall. It's really tall.
It's for those who are space conscious, you can just go up.
Yes.
This is where my eggs go. Like,
right. Oh.
So it's funny because like I've after this clutch, I've decided if the female wraps, they're hers. Like, yeah.
See, I go the different way. When the incubator is full is when I start sitting here going, okay, you're gonna maternally incubate because I got no room left. So
yeah, she wrapped strong, and it was just so bulletproof. Like it was.
Yeah.
So when they do maternal, are you automatically assuming that next year is off?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So that kind of plays into like where I want to go with things. Like I'm not looking to like mass bang out clutches every year.
We can produce 200 Exanic granites in 1 year and just tank the morph. Yeah.
I'm gonna piss our Nick off and just kill the Exanic.
Listen. You're not truly living in the Morelia complex unless you're doing something that pisses Nick Mutton off somehow. My existence probably annoys him a little bit. So, yeah.
I'd be like, Nick, you can bench 400 pounds, but I know jujitsu. So,
come at me, man.
So, bring it. No, I'm Birkin that entire clutch for a year. And just holding on to them. I don't want to ever get to the point where I'm just like cranking things out. It was funny. Right. I was listening to last week where Eric was talking about like being like boutique about like, I just kind of want to get to the point where if you think Papuans, like humbly, Gerard, like, and I'm not really going to venture out into much other stuff. Like inlands are awesome. I love them. I'm going to hold back when I do finally produce on those. I would love to get roughies, and then really it's just going to be Papuans.
I mean, you already have your 2 Morelia. Adding roughies, I don't know. I mean, you already got your cornerstones.
That's cool. I think I love that.
The roughies episode, the natural history one, like 15 times. Those weren't even known when
they weren't even on your radar. Yeah.
When I started listening to MPR and hearing that, I was like, "What?"
I wouldn't shut up about
scale python.
Yeah.
What is that?
Right. It's wild, right? It's wild that they're. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's really
and
cool
Owen Pelly
that they're available.
No idea.
Nobody knows what that is.
I would sell all my olive pythons to make room for Owen Pellies.
Yeah.
I would.
Well, it's funny because I unearthed my dad's Pythons of the World Volume 2.
Ah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he passed away in 2016, so there were a bunch of boxes in my mom's, and I was going through, and I'm like, oh,
holy crap!
I know. You know what though? I know that's a ball python book, but it's still a great book.
The jungle on the cover.
The Aussie. You got Volume 1.
Oh, Volume 1.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I need Volume 2. I have Volume 1 and Volume 3, and I'm an addict. So yeah,
it's funny because I'm like leafing through it. I'm like, I remember reading this so much, and I never noticed that there was roughies in there, and there was Owen Pellies in there. Like,
yeah.
Because you don't know it, You
skip right over it. You're like, next page. So
coming back into it after so long out of it, I was like, okay. I'm like, it was weird because I kind of would randomly check in over the years. I'd be like, oh, Bolin's are still 10 grand. You know,
yeah,
right.
Like 2015, I'm like, why the fuck are Burmese pythons $1,000? Like,
what the hell is going on here? Yeah,
yeah, that was like the Lacey Act time, and I remember messaging somebody like, these things are like $75. Why are they so much money?
Right.
I remember people were buying them because they were like, the government come and take our snakes. Like they were going nuts. And
I bought berms then. I bought berms because I thought that I wouldn't be able to get them again.
You had pearls, right? You had a green.
I had a green. I had a labyrinth. I had a hypo.
Yeah, you had like 3 or 4 berms, and I'm like, what are you doing? It's like,
And then I thought about it, and I was like, as much as I love berms, I do. I really do. I've always loved them. But couldn't do it. I was like,
you know, it's funny. I listened to an old 2020 episode, 2-part with Scott Borden about propagating difficult species.
Yep.
And he was he was like, COVID, everything's shutting down. We're not going to get anything anymore. Like everything's coming from bats. And I was like, wow, shit changed.
Drop of
it's funny what
shit changes.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I just always worry about, you know, not being, you know, and that's sort of like, I don't know for you, but for me, I bought a bunch of scrubs at that time too, because it was like this whole fear that Indo was going to shut down. And then I thought about it later on. I was like, was this kind of some kind of sales scheme that we were duped into? Like, oh, you better get them now because
I mean, why do you think Timor's went from 1,500 to 25?
Well, I almost shit myself when I heard you say, what was a Moluccan at Daytona? $1,200? What, they were up to what? They were up to what, $3 grand, 3,500?
Something like that. Yeah. Moluccans went nuts. Moluccans went nuts. Timors went nuts. Anything Indo went absolutely bonkers. And now I think it's finally getting to a point where wild caughts are about, you know, $600-700, and then these captive born and breds are about 15. And I'm like, that's how it should be. You should pay more for the captive born and bred. Somebody did work. And a $600 Timor python is, I think, right where it needs to be for somebody who wants to build a project and get a couple Timors and give it a shot.
Yeah.
I have no space, otherwise I would have more Timors. So like it is.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm kind of riding the down crest of that whole COVID inflation bubble with things like.
But that was so weird too, because prices shot up, but I couldn't keep snakes in the house. I sold. Of course, that was one of my worst years, was 2020, and then follow it up in 2021 with one of my best years, and it's like, cool, I guess. Like, I wish I had this shit like 2021 and 2022 when everything was selling. Like, so.
Yeah, like what did you do as far as riding the COVID bubble?
I came in kind of after. I mean, I got in it again in like spring of 22. So I would like listen and hear you guys talking about, you know, and I saw the green trees were through the roof, and you know they've stabilized back down, and but I know all the imports were up, so even like Papuan Carpets were, but the entirety of Papuan Carpets has, you know, thanks to you, thanks to Riley, you know, they like you two have been the two main drivers, and like I was like, oh yeah, I remember those, like, and then seeing them, But it's cool that they're. It's cool that they're up though. Like I think, you know, as far as Morelia, they're not unlimited, obviously, but there's so many things you can do with them. Like, and it seems like guys get into them and then they're hard into them for a while, and then they kind of, And I hope I'm not another one of those guys that's like, oh, I love Papuans. And then 2 years later, it's like, for sale, Papuans.
Yeah.
I think that happens.
Yeah,
with
I think it's
things.
like,
you know, it's
I think it's for people.
Yeah.
It's kind of like for me, I think that's why I practice the whole thing of saying, like, you know, do what you love. I think that some of those people are like sort of trying it on, you know what I mean? And they're just like, they're super pumped about it because other people are pumped about it. And then it sort of becomes like, it's probably not really my thing. Or you're introduced to somebody else. I mean, shit, man, you just meet somebody and like, it could have an effect on like what you keep, you know, because if you like meet somebody and they have, you know, whatever, and then you sort of like, they're pretty cool. And then you get a pair and you're like, I really like these. And then, you know, like if all of a sudden Nick's breeding colubrids, then we know, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, you know,
there's so much cool
it just
stuff,
would be weird.
Like, on a daily basis. I look around and I'm like, like there's so many cool things. Like I would kill for roughies. I am going down such a deep rabbit hole of scrubs. Like, I think they're amazing. God damn you, Stephen Cush. Like,
I mean, we have roughies here that are for sale, and give me a couple months, I'll have scrubs.
It was funny on a couple the live stream you guys did a month or two ago. I was on there and I was asking you about Apodora and roughies. I had like I didn't change my Instagram, so it was like a jumble of numbers, and and I was like, what do you like more, roughies or scrubs or Apodora? And you guys were talking about it, and you know, Riley's pumping the Apodora hard and Kush is pumping the scrubs hard, and I'm like, I definitely somewhere down the line I want something like, not like more advanced, but more advanced. Like, you know, they're not you know, a beginner snake.
Right. Something that, you know, is like, this is an animal that, you know,
like,
you know,
it's going to take more to breed. It's going to take more to keep, you know, but
makes you a little nervous when she makes eye contact with you.
Into the, exactly. I'm scared. Like, I branched out into the diamonds and I branched out into the boas and stuff, and I just keep coming back to the Papuan. So like, I know where the bread is buttered. Like, that's what I like. That's the cornerstone of what I've got. I'm going to stay here. I really want to dive deep into that and then play around with other stuff. Like, just to, because I think if you're just hammering one thing, you're like, it might become a chore.
And I like the idea of having your core thing, your core species. Your this will never go away. Things may drop off, things may be altered, and I may add stuff. But this is like you said, this is where the bread is buttered. But I enjoy the idea of stepping out and seeing what's out there, and also, like you said, the challenge. You know, it's that's the fun stuff. It's just then you wander off where I'm at, where people are shocked when you buy a carpet python, and I'm like, well, wait, like, I don't know why.
I'm all right.
I do those. Remember, like, so, and then there's all that stuff. But I always enjoy the next thing, and if your next thing is your project that you're building in a Morelia or a more for mutation, and it's that breeding project, and that next step is those babies hatching out of that egg to build that next thing there. That's awesome. If your next step is over here getting some weird, rare, God only knows species to breed, that's cool too. So
I think I want to get into like one thing that's just out and left
really
field.
far out there.
And and then once the Xanthic granite thing kind of takes off and I can get like a trio of those, kind of get rid of the nuts and bolts of that, like the pos hats or the 100% double hats, and then really focus on the wild type stuff and like go lighter, go darker, you know, take a super dark one to an Xanthic granite. Like, what's that going to do?
I mean, eventually you'll get to the point where you have an autopilot sense. I'll I'll tell you, my first couple breedings of California king snakes and corn snakes, I checked on them all the time and was like fiddling with the dial and made sure everything was. Now it's like put them in a box. I'll see you in a couple months, guys. Like, I hope you make it. Like, it's and you're getting to that. You get to that point with other stuff like carpet python. For me, at least, it's just like in the box, put the computer, hit the buttons, and now I'm done. Like, it's you get to a point where you don't need to put that much focus.
The fun then becomes the hatch, right?
Right.
I mean,
exactly.
Like,
but
I think you become so in tune with it, sort of like you're keeping, right? You become so, you're just in tune with it that you go in and you do the cleaning and becomes regimented and sort of like, I don't know. I listen to podcasts, you listen to audio books, whatever, like that kind of thing where you're just in there, you're in a zone, you're sort of, you're just in the zone. And I think breeding becomes that too when you're dialed in with a species. But
you don't have to
put
that much effort.
It's when they hatch, you know what I mean? Especially if you're breeding something like, the Axanthic granites, or if you're breeding some, some pairing that you're trying to get more yellow into the thing. And then they hatch out and you're like, okay, awesome. They look great, whatever. But then you got to wait for them to change. And then it's another way, you know what I mean? So I always feel like with, at least for me, that like, although I'm not being challenged in the thinking department of like how to breed this, right? It's sort of almost like that sort of becomes afterthought, and you sort of cruise with that, and then you just wait for the results, and then that's where the fun is at. It sort of changes as you sort of go through it. Like I'm kind of going through it now because I haven't bred in a couple of years, so it's kind of like I kind of forget how to do it. Like, I mean, I know how to do it, but at the same time, I'm like, oh shit.
I want a refresher.
Because I'm so in tune. Like, I didn't even think. It was like, okay, this date's coming up. This is what I do. This is da 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 da. And now it's like
I think I observed more locks.
I have it written on the board. Right. Like that kind of thing.
Well, I think I observed more locks in my earlier career because I was like up against the glass, like constantly.
Right.
Yeah. Right. Now I'm just
my God, this breeding I did this year was like, they must have been like, go away.
Go away,
bro.
dude. Like, like go away. Now I'm like, she looks kind of fat. We'll see how it goes. Like it's that whole part.
That whole breeding was like so by the book. Like I put them together December 1st and I woke up December 2nd and they were locked, like out in the open. I was like, oh yes. And then, multiple locks between, I remember January 10th, I opened up the cage and looked at her and I was like, holy shit, did you eat a football? Like,
yep.
Yeah.
Like, that's an ovulation. Like it was so like visibly just gigantic. I was like, all right, nailed it. Like, and then she did the pre-lay shed and I offered her rat and she refused. And I was like, all right, nailed it. Like, and then the whole incubation, it was so cool to like be on the Discord and like asking about like artificial maternal incubation and having Justin Julander be like, giving me tips. I was like, holy shit, like this is so weird.
Well, and the other thing is that you kind of, I remember mixing egg box media and stuff like that, where it's like I'm reading and it's like you need 2 part this, 1 part that, and you're just like measuring cup and you're stirring, and now it's like, man, get in the bin. It's that whole thing. You become more confident in yourself, and like you said, you kind of feel like you can expand on projects and maybe dip out on things once stuff is set up, once you're not nervous about it anymore, once you know what your animals are going to do, you'll eventually get to a point where it's like that one, you're sitting funny. You got eggs. That's what you do when you have eggs. Like, done. I don't even
that was the only thing she didn't do. She never inverted. So
it's not even an inversion sometimes.
Yeah.
One of my females, she just sits a little cockeyed. And just a little cockeyed on her bin. Normally she's perfectly round, some of that. When she's got eggs, it's just one part of her body is just a little off kilter. And she's a tiger.
It's so hard to explain. Like I've wanted to, I used to write a lot and I've wanted to do like like a blog post or something and like explain the whole process through. Like I know you guys have done a ton of, and I've abused them, the breeding episodes. So Owen, they serve a purpose.
again, we have to do it again.
Yeah, you're doing one in a couple.
We are. We have to do it. They're probably already on the schedule. Like, yeah,
it is.
But
it is.
But
the idea
I
of
hammered those breeding episodes and like going online and looking at you know, this is this, that is that. So I've kind of wanted to sit down and write like a whole thing. Like I didn't think it was this, but it was this, you know, just kind of explaining the whole thing. So hopefully at some point I can sit down and do that before this breeding season starts.
Well,
yeah,
and that's
I still don't even feel like I have them established because I haven't even gotten the entire clutch to eat at the same time.
It's difficult. But the other thing is that also you're going to develop a gut, and your gut's going to tell you stuff like, this is not right, this is right, this is good, whatever. And people are constantly, you know, I know when there's something off with my animals because I'm looking at them and something isn't right. And I'm the first line of defense there, but then also I'm the second of the, like, this is how she acts when this is happening, or he's all revved up because he wants a female. That's why he's like slamming his head against the glass. It's not because he's pissed. It's because I won't put him in with the girl that's over there. So that kind of stuff, you know,
even just doing it once, the amount of confidence, like going into this year, I'm like, I feel like I know what to look for. I know when to do it. Like I remember, so Ben had a unfortunate occurrence with his children's. One emerged and then two went back into the egg and died.
Yep.
When my heads were pipping out and I opened the nest box and I looked, I saw like 4 heads like retract. I was like, oh my God, I killed them. Like
oh God,
I hope they come back out. Like
well, at least you didn't like, you know, rip like, no, I'll save you. Like it was, you know, it's I think in my God, is it 10 years at this point or further, whatever, of breeding, I think I've only had one drown because it was stupid enough to cut into its sibling egg and go in there and die. So and also, you know, I remember my first couple clutches, it was like every little carpet that wouldn't eat, I was like force feeding Pinky Pump, which is disgusting, doing all that shit. And now it's I'm going to offer you all this food and you're going to find something, or your genes don't need to go into U.S. Morelia. So
you know what was wild was the feeding trials when I would sit there with something and I would tease feed it right off the bat, and they were all running and not interested.
Yep.
I tried fuzzies, then I tried rat pinkies. I think I actually tried African soft fur pinkies too. Nothing. I drop fed. 6 of the 8 took.
It's some.
And then all of a sudden, the realization they have to learn what that is.
Right.
And then within 2 feedings, they're ripping it off tongues. Like every other baby carpet I bought from a breeder who had it established. So my biggest like recommendation to anybody establishing is try drop feeding first. Like
that is my number one.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how I got all my Vietnamese blue beauties to eat. I just drop fed rather than tease feed, and they all ate immediately. So you try drop feeding, and then if that doesn't work, you tease feed, and if that doesn't work, you have the next step, and then the next step, and then the next step.
Yeah. I talked to Riley a lot about it, and he was, you know, he showed me like his progression on what he does, and I tried to like follow that, but like drop feeding was the magic bullet. You know, I remember I drop fed, I came back in like an hour later, and like 5 of them were halfway swallowed. I was like, oh, that was it.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I used to do this. I'm going to try to record it this year and make a video about it. But like when you go to feed carpets, and like this is for ones that have eaten but are sort of picky, I guess, finicky. There's this spot that's like right on the right behind their jaw, that's on their neck, that if you tap it, seem to like turn.
Yep.
And then it just gives them this instinct of, oh, well, I guess I better wrap this. And then they wrap it. And I have had them where they drop it. But
yeah,
typically
the one I force fed when I finally got it to take off tongs, that's what I did. And it took.
Okay.
It finally wrapped. It
Nice.
wrapped and actually dropped it. And then I did it again. And it
Mhm.
wrapped and swallowed. And then the next time I just presented it, it hit, wrapped, swallowed. So yeah, no, that
Nice.
That like strike to the back of the head, it pissed it off. Or it was like, oh, I'll eat this then.
Yeah. I put the effort in. Why not?
Sometimes you got to make it mad. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I know you were talking about doing a blog or whatever for breeding. I wanted to show you something real quick. Maybe it'll be useful to you. I don't know what kind of phone you have or whatnot, but like I got this from Matt Minatola. But like as I go into the breeding season, I make myself a note what the pairings are, and then I take the pictures of the animals and kind of put them in a list. And the cool thing about this is that now, like at least with Apple Notes, I don't know if you have Apple or not.
That's in the Notes app. Yeah,
I'm sure
Apple. Yep.
Yeah, so it's just the Notes app, right? But the cool thing now is that they've upgraded to where you can like do recordings of like you can just talk and do a recording, but then it'll transcribe that. You know what I mean? So like if you're in the room and you're like, hey, you know, blah, 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 it puts the date and the time. So you get all that data automatically. And then
you can like make observations. Like, I see her, you know, slacking the coils. This, that. Yeah, cool.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then you can take a picture and you can put the picture right in there with it. So you sort of have it as a reference, you know, later on. And then
I didn't realize they had upgraded it that much.
Oh yeah, it's like top notch now for sure. And then the other thing is like you can so if you wanted to make it a PDF or something like that, you can just share this and it goes right to their Pages app, which is more of like a Word document type of thing. And you can go in there and you can mess with it or whatever. And then what was the other thing that did? Oh, this was the other thing when I was really getting crazy when I was learning how to breed. You set up a shortcut that it would send the weather that day to the Note app, right? So if you had the weather, it would tell you what the temperature was and if there was a storm or something like that. And then you can sort of like no, it just automatically puts it in there, which is pretty cool. So I don't know, there's a lot of things you can do with it. Obviously, if you're looking to keep notes, that's what I would recommend what to do. But
yeah, I
just got tired of the notebook
with my record keeping this year. Like it was one clutch. I had everything on like pictures. Yeah, it was all there.
Right.
Honestly, these shoebox things that I've been using for the babies, a dry erase marker on the front with
that's all you gotta do.
What they're eating. Like, I've heard in the past you talking about like record keeping.
Yeah.
The 5 slashes for feedings, the sheds in the bottom left corner, what they're eating. Like these things have been awesome. I've kind of like been doing like a hybrid ambient gradient system in my room with these guys because I don't feel confident putting like a heat source under those flimsy little plastic shoe boxes. But $32 for 12 of those from Amazon, and then those little 3D printed clips from I forget who did it.
Is it Reptile Perch?
Or is it Helium?
Yes. Yeah. And they just lock the boxes closed. They're up elevated, so they're about 82. When I feed during the week or every 10 days, I just bump the heat up in the room a little bit so the heat comes up. So they're sitting at about 84. After a day or two, I just drop it back down. They're like clockwork with their bowel movements and then everything lower in the room stays about 80 ambient, and they, racks, cages, they all have their heat sources. So it's kind of like a split thing. And as they get bigger and I decide what I'm going to keep, I'll move into the more standard setups.
Okay. Cool.
I like it.
I was on your we're talking about keeping in tech and that kind of stuff, and I was on your page and I noticed that you're using the Govee thermometers and stuff. What's your feeling with them? How do they do?
So I was using there's one for the room right here. So initially I was using these guys, which were the Bluetooth ones, not the Wi-Fi. They were good, great battery life. But if I'm at work, I can't see what's going on. So then I switched it to, I don't want to get bit here. I switched it to these guys, the Wi-Fi ones.
Okay, because then you can check it.
Awesome. I can check. The battery life on these things suck. They're like a couple weeks, 6 weeks or so. And then you start getting the prompts on your phone to replace the battery. Riley told me recently that he has the bigger ones that have like multiple double A's. So I'm thinking about switching to those. But I mean, the Govee thing it's so nice. Between the cameras and the thermometers and the hygrometers, like I monitored my maternally incubating female from work. I could see into the cage. Like I knew the day she laid because I didn't see her out at all. I was like, I haven't seen her out. And, normally around 1 o'clock, she would come out, kind of soak up under the heat panel, go back out. And I knew it was like day 59. I'm like, I haven't seen her all day. I guarantee there's eggs in there. And that was from the camera. So
you could almost hardwire one of these like into some sort of electrical kind of thing.
Well, I kind of have it like set up as a fail safe. I have all the high temperature alarms set to the herpstat and all the thermostats that are plugged into smart plugs. So if I'm at work and whatever, it knocks a thermostat probe off and I get an alert that it's 101 degrees in the cage. I just go to the smart plug, shut it off. I'll figure it out when I get home. Snake's not cooking. Like
That's
so it gives you that kind of peace of mind. I know there was a big discussion in the Discord the last day about like monitoring remotely. So I mean, this is stuff my dad probably would have just been like, "What? Like, give
it a shot."
Yeah, you can put those in your glass aquariums or your cages.
This is how this works. What?
Yeah. I mean,
put the big dictionaries on top of the cage. You'll be all right. They won't get
no problem.
Bricks in the corners to keep it.
I don't get it.
Yeah, we really
that's
are
cool,
living in like a sick time for the what we can do with these guys.
Yeah, I mean it's
I'm
only going to get
better. I'm surprised that thermostats haven't like been adapted in a way that they would record that. I know that they've moved to. I think there's some that are on Wi-Fi now. If I'm not mistaken,
I mean,
where you can monitor.
Herpstat has the Wi-Fi ones, and they're pushing more of those because it started with like an intro and a 2, and then I think there's a 4 and a 6 now that can connect to the Wi-Fi. I think the next step is going to be because the thing is that Herpstats are still about the size of a VCR 6s, so I think it's going to be smaller those and also more probes so that you can get like one thing and maybe have like a Herpstat 8 or 10. Or something like that. That's going to start going to be in the next thing. And then, I think they're going to slowly phase out to where all of them, like it used to be Herpstat, you could pay extra to get the steel tips that were water sealed. Now they all just come with the steel tips. So that'll be the next thing is I imagine they're all just going to be Wi-Fi or they're all going to have this and all that. So it's going to be the eventual spread across. So
I just got to jump out for 1 second. I'll be right back.
Yep.
Yeah, no worries.
So, we'll see how it goes, man. I mean, I'm looking forward to the next iteration of a couple things, because there's a couple things, like there are companies out there that I know that are in like the UK and Australia that it's like they do manage like 10 something enclosures at once. So
yeah, I really like I don't know the name of the brand name, but I think it's more for like fish at this point. But Scott and Ty had that basically you can control. Everything. Is it a sunny day? Is it a rainy day? Is it a cloudy day? You know, that kind of thing. You can control like the temperature or whatever. You could have it mask the heat. You know, like which I don't know, just very cool.
There's a lot of different ways to do that kind of stuff, and like we've talked about a couple times, we imagine that the next phase of advancement is going to be, how do I keep this as more of a naturalistic setup as a pet? And you know, dude, I'm constantly thinking about what I can convert into a cage that would be good for like diamonds. And
and your diamonds.
Dude, I saw online a broken claw machine, like those toy claw machine things. And I'm like, I could get this and I could gut it and I could rip it apart. And it could be like a perfect thing because it's got a locking glass door that you open and it's completely enclosed glass. But then because it's got like a drop thing for the toys, you have like a underground tunnel thing that it could go into. Oh my God. Like I'm looking at it and I'm like, I could get this. I just need a truck, a trailer. I need to convince my wife to let me put a claw machine in the living room after I've ripped it to ribbons. Like, hey,
you got to gut it, but leave all the accessories on the outside.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's got a hood. It's got lights. It's got stuff. I can put heat in there. Nice. I'm a sick man and nobody needs to, I need to not get close to one of these things because I'm probably going to end up doing that. So
you got to use it as an incubator. So when you want to pull the mom off,
just grab it. Get out of here, you. Just drop it. Yeah. That's how I feed the diamonds.
Yeah,
it just comes in
like Jurassic Park. The incubator.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, perfect. You don't even need an incubator. Just drop it right in that little spot where you would reach in.
Everything you have is psychotic. Just use that.
Tape there.
Yeah.
Look at his mind's going. He's like,
you'd have this nice thin glass. You'd have a naturalistic setup, rock outcroppings, and then you can have a false burrow that has a glass thing on it. You can look in and see it down there. Yeah, no, this is bad. I
don't know who
about this.
Tony Hurt.
Yeah,
posted his setups with the recessed like underground hides. They're so nice.
Yeah. You could, and I would rip it all the way down. It'd be great. It'd be fantastic. I want one. Nobody needs to let me get close to one of these things because I'm gonna measure it up, size it up, and be like, like this is how I got an incubator that was a Coke fridge because I kept looking at them and going, I could do that. I could do that. And then one fell into my lap and I did it. So
you're gonna miss episodes because you're going to carnivals looking for.
I'm gonna be down in Jersey. Like, is this thing broken? But it is now. So that's.
Oh man. Wow.
Not good.
I can't believe it's been 2 hours already. Holy shit. This went fast.
It's almost like we do this all the time. Weird.
Well, when you're having good conversations, then it doesn't seem like good
because I was sitting here going, I don't know what I have to offer here.
Everybody thinks that. Everybody's like, we can't talk for 2 hours. And then it's almost like it right on it. And you're like, see,
I was legitimately nervous beforehand. I was like, this is crazy.
You can't be nervous around us because
we're just nerds, man.
It's fucking fake. The time just goes.
And also it's like these two morons. Like, what do they like? I am not an author.
I don't. Called These Two Morons and
These Two Morons.
Expert in the idiot.
Speaking of authors and talking for 2 hours, I remember I talked to Nick. I was like, I looked at my wife and I would be like 15, 20 minutes.
No. No.
She's like, who are you talking to? I'm like, you see that book on the counter? That guy.
Yeah. I think my favorite thing about that is that, like, I guess because, you know, I've known Nick for so long. Oh, and you're probably the same way. But like, if I'm at work, I'll be like, dude, I can't talk. He's like,
I can't do this now, man.
It'll only be 5 minutes. I was like, that's what you say every time.
Every
Nick.
time, and then it's 2.5 hours.
Someone you go on a tangent about the what is the one error that he loves? The Pliocene.
Pleistocene.
About the
Pleistocene. Yeah.
The Pleistocene.
Yes. The Pleistocene.
Mammoth tusks. You know,
You just like posted up some wild type Darwins today or yesterday.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
they're on the list. That whole
they're Variegata
complex.
Yeah, it's fine. It's Variegata.
For whatever reason, every one of those, Cape Yorks, Gelatins, Novas, like they're the ones that I've been most like. I think I put it up in a post. I'm like, I want to breed all of those. Like, looking at some of like Paul Harris's Cape Yorks, I'm like, holy shit, those things are awesome.
Yeah.
My female should go next year.
Next year.
Yeah.
I think the next would be just wild type Darwin, non-albino, just straight up Darwin, which is oddly rare now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I love the.
Oh wow!
I do.
Dark. The
wild like the
Darwins.
Real dark.
Oh, you're looking at
Oh yeah, of course I am.
That female's awesome. Like,
yeah, they're red. Like I mean those are nice, and he's got them like he's got the striped Darwins, and then you see them, and it's just like night and day. It's like ooh, yeah.
You put up an Instagram of the female on eggs, like wild type Darwin clutch, and I went.
He's got some Palmerston locality jungles that look nice too.
Oh yeah, that one. It was on my list for Morelia minutes.
Yeah. Oh. Are we dipping too far into another
Stepping
thing
on
here?
the toes here.
Yeah. Oh crap. Yeah.
Inland reptile. Is he under inland reptiles or just Nick Mutton?
Yeah. Inland reptile.
Inland reptile.
Yep.
Inland rep. Where's he at?
We got a lot of Antaresia. What the hell was he doing with these things? Jesus.
Yeah, he's got. He said he had a light year this year, but
I went too far. I hit ball pythons. Scrolling back up.
He's got ball pythons on
oh, nope, too far. I hit the ball pythons. That's enough. So
abort.
Yeah, it's a light year. I only did 520 babies. Oh yes, Nick, a light year. So
I mean, he burnt through. Like he posted up some wild type Papuans, and they came and went already. Like in a snap. I know one of his clutches was the Reptilicus, and I was like, I have 8. I can't.
That takes me back.
I saw Kohler bred that Reptilicus female. That snake is cool looking.
Yes.
Really cool looking.
Yes.
I was talking to him today and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, I got to get out to some of those PA shows.
Oh yeah, I would recommend well, no, unfortunately, I can't recommend the next Hamburg show because they're not going to be there. Balin and Kohler are going to ditch it because they got to do Tinley Park. So the one after that,
in October.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
it'll just be
like
me.
I'm semi-local, like within a reasonable car drive. So
if you go there, the only carpet guy you're going to run into is me, and no one wants that. So
I'll come hang out.
Oh,
are you even a carpet guy anymore? I mean, are you even a carpet guy?
That is insulting, sir. Bred more carpets than you. Anyway,
I'm psyched to see that you're going heavy this year, Eric. Like, or heavy-ish. I know you used to be like crazy.
And he's almost at double digits. I got to find one more. When we're at Carpet Fest, I got to find one more pair of snakes and force him to breed it, and then he'll get to 10.
I'm just gonna be like a fly buzzing around you for the poison ivy stuff. Like when you finally, like, I'll take that to an Xanthogranite I'll give you half the babies. Like,
what's going on? What's going on with
cool.
this? You gonna let those go? What's going on?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, eventually I am. That's for sure.
I mean, eventually he
No
has
doubt.
to, right? I mean,
Yes.
Yeah, when you were like, oh,
Yes.
let's talk Papuans. I'm like, Eric wants to talk Papuans. Let's go.
this is how I get in. Like, yeah. It is. Man. Yeah. Like I said, Fender Stratocaster. Show up with one of those.
You got it.
I
You're
used
in.
to actually,
Good call.
I decided I wanted to learn how to play guitar, and I bought a classic Stratocaster. I never learned.
Oh shit.
I sold.
We're like brothers from another mother.
Yeah.
I've seen Clapton like 5 times. So.
Oh yeah, man.
I appreciate guitar. One day I will maybe learn. Probably not, but.
Yeah, that's what Keith says. The same thing to me. I was like, just pick it up and start playing it. And he's like, what are you talking about? I can't get my fingers. I said, my fingers didn't move like this all the time. Like at some point, you have to
baby steps. Yeah.
You know what? I honestly like. I feel like a discipline like that kind of carries over to this. Like, you got to stay the course. You got to just keep hammering. Like when it's not glorious, when you're not shredding, like you're just learning chords and you're doing the basic stuff. Like. And
solid foundation,
Yep.
Yeah. Like, why am I doing this? And you're hearing, the metronome, and you're just like, what the hell?
That's changing.
I want to play Sweet Child of Mine. Like what the? I don't want to play. Mary Had a Little Lamb. What kind of bullshit is this? All right, well, we are at that mark. I guess we'll continue this conversation at the Carpet Fest.
I'm looking forward to it. It'll be cool.
Awesome.
I think so. I'm going to ask you. I'll ask you and you can ask the closing question, and then where can people find you if they want to get in touch and see what you got going on this year? What's the best place to see your collection and possibly your blog at some?
The blog to be determined. I'll figure it out. I'm sure I'll blast it out on my Instagram. Instagram is the only thing I'm on. I'm like I said, avoiding Facebook like the plague right now. Instagram, Oceania Exotics. And that's it. Just hit me up.
Where did the name come from?
Yeah.
So the continent of Oceania encompasses Papua New Guinea. I think it gets New Zealand, but obviously no.
Yeah.
It was funny when I was coming in. I said earlier I do jiu-jitsu, and one of the competitions there's a trials for that portion of the world, and it's called Oceania. So I was like looking up at Oceania. I'm like, that encompasses like Indonesia, Papua New Guinea. I was like, so I'm not boxing myself into New Guinea exotics. Roughies. I'm leaving myself a lot of room.
Nice. That's a good one, man. I like that.
I honestly couldn't believe that. I searched it on Google, and I was like, nobody has Oceania. Like that's the continent that encompasses that. Yeah. So there it is.
Okay.
That works.
Yep.
All right. And what we got?
All right. So I guess we'll ask the first one. Is there an animal that got away from you that you want to have a shot back at?
Not so much a specific animal. So Corey Martin had, when she was making her move into monitors, had messaged me. It was right after Christmas, right before New Year's, saying, "Hey, I know you're into inlands. I'm giving you a shot at. Here's my list of inlands. and it was, you know, 6 or 7 breeding age inlands.
Oh.
So it was like stuff from Justin, some of Nick's outcross stuff, and I was like, I negotiated a price with her, and like I was like ready to do it, and then I was looking around at my caging. I'm like, I gotta bump everything back that I just bumped up. So that whole, I would have a real solid group of inlands had I pulled the trigger on that. So yeah, nothing like really presented itself outside of that. That's my first. Yeah, they're awesome. If I had really dug into them before going down the Papuan rabbit hole, like this would be a Tim Tyndall type room. Like there'd be a lot of inlands in here. They're
man.
Awesome.
They're cool snakes for sure.
Yep.
All right. If you had anything to any piece of advice to offer any newcomer, what would it be?
Oof. I'm not a newcomer.
You got a clutch you got a couple clutches under your belt. Yeah.
I would say, you know, everybody says keep what you like and all that. Don't, more or less, let's keep what you like, and then you don't have to have everything. You know, there's so many shiny, you know, my wife has a little poster that says easily distracted by shiny objects.
Yeah.
And like,
there are a lot of shiny objects. Yeah.
There's a lot of shiny objects in this hobby. Like there's so many cool things. Like, I mean, some, I was looking at IMG boas the other day. I'm like, holy shit, those things are awesome. Oh, you're a bow? You're a bow guy now.
Yeah, you're a bow guy now.
I have more python species than I do boa, therefore that is not true. I am
like
dangerous.
Hog Islands would kill me. Like I heard that. And Vin Russo lives 15 miles north of me. Like,
really? Oh,
yeah. I've seen him at.
There you go.
Ooh.
There you go.
So avoiding
they're quarantining up here
objects,
because they're boas. They can't do anything else to other stuff.
They're so cool.
Keep focused.
Sorry.
Keep your focus.
Sorry.
That's my biggest advice. Keep your focus.
Okay.
Like, you know, you can play around with other things, but if there's one thing you really want, stay in that lane.
Cool. All right.
Yeah, I wish you would have told me that a long time ago, man.
I wish I would have told myself.
I was doing it. Why didn't you pay attention? I was showing you the path. Yeah. Anyway, awesome. And I guess the last one would be: is there anything you're going to add to your collection this coming year, or that you want to add to your collection?
Those, all things work out correctly, those Darwins would be the one thing I would want to add. In a perfect world, maybe shrubs, but probably not going to be this year. Like, just for space and bandwidth.
They grow slow if you let them.
Never see them.
Yeah, just listen. There's the Burke method where it'll stay in a tub for its entire life, or you know, there's other methods where you know,
I definitely
it needs a 4-foot cage by the age of 2. Like, you know, it's,
but
nowhere in between.
Anything Darwin's, yeah.
Okay, Darwin's, I like it.
Cool.
That's cool.
Cool.
Nice. All right, man. Well, it's been a blast, and I guess we'll see you.
We continued at Carpet Fest. I'll let you know which bins have all the ones you probably want to steal. You know, unless he's shifted
out of the room. What are you doing?
Let's go to the bathroom.
Yeah, unless he's moved his room around that much. I know where they are. So
now looking forward to seeing you guys.
Cool. Definitely.
Move snakes.
Move snakes. Long list of things to do. Hide animals. Smart. He's smart. He's good. Yeah.
Right.
Diamonds aren't even in this room. He's smart. He's getting better. Yeah. So
yes. All right,
Awesome,
we'll close
guys.
it out. Yeah. Thanks, man. Really appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Oh, and what do we got? We have Carpet Fest coming up. We're a week away.
The 14th.
Yep. And then
there's the list, the thread on the Northeast Carpet Fest Facebook page that's just asking what is everybody bringing. I'm not really monitoring too much because it looks like everybody's bringing a lot of different stuff, so I don't really need to jump in there. If I had checked in it, that it's your house, you can bring whatever you want. Like you don't have to bring anything. It's your freaking house. Anyway,
I'll bring some Italian heroes from New York.
Yes.
Ooh,
all right.
There we go.
With that. So, but then the other. I'm not really going in. I'm not going into it because it looks like I don't see like 5 people posting brownies, so it seems pretty good. It seems we're gonna have a good mix of some stuff, and obviously the rules are no animals. I got to talk to you later, and other stuff like that. So, and yeah, that's it. Everybody, usually we bring a lot of coolers and stuff like that. So if you're gonna have a case of beer, or if you want to bring a drink, because we also will have non-alcoholic stuff there. If you want to bring that and just kind of dump it in one of the other coolers, that's fine too. And usually have one person who I would just be like, you need to bring a crap ton of ice, and we'll deal with that when we get there too. That's it pretty much. So we hope to see everybody there. The other thing is that we will be making the official calendar competition announcement probably within the next 24 to 48 hours, depending on how quickly I figure out what the hell we have to do there for the final topic. Once I figure that out, I will post it. And obviously the rules are the same and all that stuff. So look for that on the Morelia Pick of the Week. Get your cameras ready, get your shots ready, get that in there. Winner of Morelia of the Year gets to come back and help vote for next year. And also all the calendar winners do get a free calendar from MPR. Cold-Blooded Cafe, get your coffee. No, damn it. Cold-Blooded Cafe is the rodents. Get your goddamn
I don't want
rodents.
that coffee.
All right. Get the rodents for Cold-Blooded Cafe. Use code MPR20 to get 20% off of your first order, or FS250 to get free shipping off of your any order over $250. Cold-Blooded Caffeine is where you get the coffee, the MPR blend, as well as all the other stuff. Use MPR10 to get a 10% discount there. Go to the Patreon, go to the Teespring store, check out all that shit. Go to the MPR website, check out all the shows we have on the channel, including Morelia Minutes and all the other fun stuff we're doing. That's all. That's it. We have nothing else to give you. So thanks everyone for listening, and we'll catch everybody back here next week for some more Morelia Python Radio. Good night.